Animal Farm by George Orwell is a celebrated allegorical novella that explores the dynamics of power, corruption, and betrayal through the lens of a group of farm animals. The story is a poignant critique of totalitarian regimes and remains relevant in its examination of political systems and human nature. This comprehensive analysis includes a detailed synopsis of the storyline, exploration of its themes, critique, historical context, and a brief biography of George Orwell. Animal Farm opens with the animals on Mr. Jones's manor farm living under oppressive conditions. Inspired by Old Major, an elderly boar, the animals revolt against Mr. Jones, driven by the dream of a society where animals can be free, equal, and live in harmony. Old Major's vision, which he shares before his death, becomes the foundation for the rebellion. The rebellion, led by the pigs Napoleon and Snowball, the animals overthrow Mr. Jones and take control of the farm, renaming it Animal Farm. They establish a set of principles known as animalism, encapsulated in 7 commandments meant to ensure equality and justice. The key commandment is, all animals are equal. The early days, initially, Animal Farm prospers. The animals work hard, and their efforts yield success. Snowball, an eloquent and idealistic pig, leads various initiatives to improve the farm, including the construction of a windmill to generate electricity. However, Snowball's plans are opposed by Napoleon, who is power-hungry and manipulative. Power struggle, the rivalry between Snowball and Napoleon culminates in a power struggle. Napoleon uses his loyal attack dogs, whom he has raised and trained, to chase Snowball away from the farm. With Snowball gone, Napoleon assumes control and begins to consolidate his power, becoming increasingly tyrannical. The corruption of power, Napoleon's regime becomes more oppressive and corrupt. The pigs, who were once proponents of equality, start to emulate the humans they replaced. They take privileges for themselves, alter the 7 commandments to suit their needs, and deceive the other animals. The original commandment, all animals are equal, is eventually changed to, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Deterioration, life on Animal Farm deteriorates as Napoleon's dictatorship becomes more brutal. The hard-working horse, Boxer, who believes in the cause and the leadership, is betrayed and sold to the knacker when he becomes ill. The animals' hopes for a better future are crushed, and they realize they have traded one form of oppression for another. Conclusion, the novella ends with the pigs indistinguishable from the humans they replaced. The other animals look on in horror as the pigs, now walking on 2 legs and engaging in trade with humans, celebrate their dominance. The final, chilling transformation signifies the complete betrayal of the original ideals of the rebellion. Themes: power and corruption. One of the central themes of Animal Farm is the corrupting influence of power. The novella illustrates how those in positions of authority can become corrupt and oppressive. Napoleon's rise to power and subsequent tyranny exemplify Lord Acton's adage, power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Betrayal and deception. The theme of betrayal is prominent throughout the story. The animals are betrayed by their leaders, who manipulate and deceive them for personal gain. The gradual alteration of the 7 commandments highlights the extent of this betrayal. Boxer's fate is a poignant example of the ultimate betrayal by those he trusted. Class struggle and inequality. Orwell explores the dynamics of class struggle and the perpetuation of inequality. Despite the initial promise of equality, the farm quickly devolves into a society where the pigs exploit the other animals. The distinction between the pigs and the rest of the animals reflects the hierarchical structures that emerge in the absence of true equality. The dangers of ideology. The novella critiques the dangers of blindly following an ideology. The principles of animalism, which start as noble ideals, are twisted and manipulated by those in power. Orwell warns against the dangers of uncritical acceptance of ideological dogma, highlighting the importance of vigilance and critical thinking. The cyclical nature of history. Animal Farm suggests that history is cyclical and that revolutions can lead to the same oppression they sought to overthrow. The transformation of the pigs into the very oppressors they replaced underscores the idea that without structural change and accountability, history is doomed to repeat itself. Propaganda and control. The novella explores the use of propaganda and psychological manipulation to control and oppress. Squealer, Napoleon's spokesperson, uses language and rhetoric to justify the pigs' actions and maintain their power. The manipulation of information and revision of history are key tools used to maintain the pigs' control over the other animals. Animal Farm is widely regarded as a masterful work of political allegory, praised for its incisive critique of totalitarian regimes and its enduring relevance. However, it has also faced some criticisms. Allegorical power. Orwell's ability to convey complex political ideas through a simple and accessible story is a major strength. The allegory is clear and effective, allowing readers to draw parallels between the events on Animal Farm and real-world political systems. Characterization. The characters in Animal Farm are well drawn and serve as archetypes for various political figures and ideologies. Napoleon's ruthless pragmatism, Snowball's idealism, and Box's blind loyalty all contribute to the richness of the narrative. The novella's exploration of themes such as power, corruption, and betrayal is both thought-provoking and deeply relevant. Orwell's insights into the nature of political power and human behavior continue to resonate with readers. Writing style. Orwell's prose is clear, concise, and impactful. His use of simple language and straightforward narrative allows the allegory to shine, making the novella accessible to readers of all ages. Simplicity. Some critics argue that the novella's simplicity is both a strength and a weakness. While the straightforward narrative makes the allegory accessible, it may also lack the depth and complexity of Orwell's other works, such as 1984. Determinism. The novella's depiction of the inevitability of corruption and oppression has been critiqued as overly deterministic. Critics argue that it presents a somewhat bleak and fatalistic view of political systems and human nature. Lack of nuance. Some readers may find the characters to be somewhat one-dimensional, serving primarily as symbols rather than fully developed individuals. This lack of nuance can make the story feel more like a political treatise than a fully realized work of fiction. Despite these criticisms, Animal Farm remains a powerful and enduring work, celebrated for its incisive critique of political systems and its exploration of fundamental themes related to power and human nature. Animal Farm, written by George Orwell and published in 1945, is a satirical allegory that reflects events leading up to the Russian Revolution of 1917 and the subsequent rise of Stalinism in the Soviet Union. The book's historical context is crucial for understanding its themes and the targets of its satire. Russian Revolution and the rise of Soviet communism. The Russian Revolution of 1917 saw the overthrow of the Romanov dynasty and the establishment of a communist government led by the Bolsheviks. Initially, there was great hope for a new society based on equality and justice. However, the revolution soon took a darker turn as Joseph Stalin rose to power. Stalin's regime. Orwell's Animal Farm allegorizes the period of Stalin's rule. The character of Napoleon represents Stalin, while Snowball represents Leon Trotsky, Stalin's rival who was eventually exiled. The expulsion of Snowball from the farm mirrors Trotsky's expulsion from the Soviet Union. The pigs' gradual accumulation of power and their eventual indistinguishability from the human oppressors they overthrew critique the corruption and betrayal of the original revolutionary ideals. Totalitarianism and propaganda. The novel highlights how totalitarian regimes manipulate information and use propaganda to control the populace. The character Squealer, who spreads Napoleon's propaganda, represents the Soviet press, which was instrumental in altering perceptions and maintaining Stalin's control. This manipulation is seen in how the 7 commandments of animalism are gradually altered to justify the pig's actions. The betrayal of ideals. Animal Farm illustrates how revolutionary ideals can be betrayed by those who rise to power. The initial commandments advocating equality and fairness are systematically corrupted, reflecting Orwell's criticism of how the Soviet leadership betrayed the principles of Marxism. World War II and post-war Europe. Written during World War II, Animal Farm also reflects Orwell's disillusionment with the outcomes of the war and the Allied powers' relationship with the Soviet Union. The book was published shortly after the war, at a time when many in the West were beginning to question their wartime alliance with Stalin. George Orwell, born Eric Arthur Blair on June 25, 1903, in Motihari, British India. Orwell was born to Richard Blair, a British civil servant, and Ida Mabel Blair. He moved to England with his mother at the age of 1 and later attended Eton College. Despite his academic potential, Orwell did not attend university but instead joined the Indian Imperial Police in Burma in 1922, a decision that influenced his views on imperialism and class. Orwell's political awakening deepened after his involvement in the Spanish Civil War, where he fought for the Republicans against Franco's forces. Orwell's health declined in the late 1940s, and he suffered from tuberculosis, which eventually led to his death on January 21, 1950. Despite his short life, Orwell's contributions to literature and his insights into political manipulation and totalitarianism have left a lasting impact. His works continue to be relevant in discussions about power, governance, and individual freedoms, making him one of the most important writers of the 20th century. We hope you enjoyed this bite-sized guide to George Orwell's Animal Farm. Let us know what you think of the book in the comments. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe and check out our other videos. You'll become a literature expert in no time.